The transatlantic relationship is the backbone of the international success of European and American spirits. In 1997, the European Union and the US went for a 0-for-0 agreement, which means that most tariff lines for spirits were abolished. This has resulted in a major success. In the following 20 years, transatlantic spirits trade grew by 450%.
The EU and the US economies have thrived as a result of 0-for-0 tariffs on the distilled spirits industry. It has created prosperous economic, agricultural growth, and hospitality growth for our great bars and restaurants and bartenders in both markets. The distinctive nature of distilled spirits products essentially means you can only make American whiskey in the United States. You can only make great distilled spirits products from the EU in those markets.
The transatlantic spirits trade success story came to an abrupt halt in 2018 when retaliatory tariffs were introduced. First on US whiskey in the context of the steel and aluminium dispute, and later on EU and US spirits in the context of the Airbus-Boeing dispute. Both disputes are still not resolved, and pulling spirits, completely unrelated sectors, into these disputes has not helped them to be resolved. In the meantime, the tariffs on spirits have exerted a damaging effect on our sector on both sides of the Atlantic, particularly to craft distillers at a time when we're facing a very difficult economic context, for instance, during the hospitality closures in the COVID time.
On behalf of the EU and the US distilled spirits industry, we stand ready to work with our respective governments to help them find common ground, to avoid the prospect of any new tariffs on our distilled spirits industry and the greater hospitality sector. We hope both governments can work together, find that common ground, and make sure there are no new tariffs on distilled spirits products.
We call on EU and US policymakers to strike an agreement as a matter of urgency, which will put these retaliatory tariffs at rest for good.
We need toast,
not tariffs.